Our story begins a long time ago, about, a million years ago. Centuries called centuries called humans ruled the world above the waves, while the depths below were ruled by the Mer Queen. I can't say this, Marana? The merfolk were a proud and hearty race. They had strong tails and could survive almost any ocean environment, and can be found almost all over the world. For a time, both Mers and mortals lived in harmony. Until the queen was found dead by human hands. In a rage, her mate King Rata declared war on the humans that would last for hundreds of years. Though the mer people may be hearty, the humans were smart and sneaky with their tools and illusions. They surprised the merfolk with their strength, creative tools, and strategy. The mers started to lose their numbers rapidly. From the millions, the population dropped to thousands, so they quickly went into hiding. But unfortunate humans who sailed too close to their homes tend to go missing. As the years passed, the war settled down slightly as more fights between human kingdoms arisen. One day, a royal ship was attacked by an enemy ship, while the others ran for their lives and escaped on lifeboats. One passenger wasn't so fortunate. "Wait, where is Princess Yin?" a guard asked his crew. "Don't know, she's probably gone with the ship," an injured guard said. "What?" The broken ship slowly sunk beneath the deep surface as the princess's lone figure slowly followed too. Yin tried to swim up, but a rope wrapped itself around her ankle and pulled her further into the depths. As she struggled and pulled against it pulled her further into the depths. As she struggled, she pulled against the rope. Her body slowly gave out as the last of her air rushed out of her lungs. As her eyes closed, a longing figure swam towards her. The mer pulled a sharp shell and sliced away at the ropes, and quickly swam to the surface with the princess in his arms. The sun shined down on his wet white and red hair as he looked down at the unconscious maiden, admiring her beautiful hair-colored hair and smooth skin as he pulled them up into the nearby beach. Air quickly found their way into her as it forced out the water that once occupied her lungs. As she coughed up the water, her eyes slowly opened up to see a figure staring down at her. Her eye-colored eyes slowly focused on the man above her. "Who are you?" she groaned as she slowly pushed herself up. Shoto," the red and white merman said. "Shoto?" Yin groaned as she slowly looked down, seeing Shoto's red and white tail. Yin wanted to scream and run, but breathing still hurt. Her limbs still felt too heavy to move. Though Shoto did notice the slight gasp, he simply sighed and backed off. You saved me. Why?" Yin asked. "I'm not too sure, but I do know it was the right thing to do. Just because we merfolks do what we do doesn't mean we enjoy doing it," Shoto said simply as he slides back into the water. Wait. Thank you for saving me when you could have let me drown," Yin thanked. Shoto smiled slightly with a small nod as he submerged under the surface. Yin watched in awe as her rescuer slowly disappeared under the waves. Princess, you're all right," the guard said from the ship in relief. "Oh, Ral, you made it out safely too?" she smiled. "Yes, Your Highness. It's so good to see you all right. Please come with me. Your parents would be more than overjoyed to see that you're all right," Ral said as he held out his hand. Yin nodded and walked past Rail. As she walked back to the palace, Shoto swam down into the depths till he saw two familiar figures swimming towards him. It was his personal guards, Izuku and Ida, who were both revealed and slightly sniffed at Shoto. Your Highness, what are you doing so close to the surface? If your father finds out, who cares what my father thinks? Shoto said simply as he swam past Ida. Todoroki, you know it's forbidden to go to the surface and interact with humans, Izuku said in a nervous tone. As sad and harsh as it may sound, you should have left that human to its fate. We have to obey the rules for our safety, Ida added. I was tired of seeing another corpse litter for our ocean floor, Shoto said simply. Let's go before the king notices. From that day, the princess's view changed, and her heart was taken by the red and white merman. Everyone could see her eyes were longing on the ocean. One night, while the princess went for a night stroll on the shoreline, she could hear singing in the distance. She turned to see in the distance a rock that poked out on the surface of the ocean. Oh my god, I can't read. Atop was a tail figure singing at the moon, as the moonlight shone down on the familiar red and white figure. Shoto, good evening, Yin called out. Shoto turned to see the princess waving from the shore, and weakly waved back when an idea came to his mind. Jumping off the rock, he slowly swam closer to the shore to talk to this brave princess. Call it magic or something greater. The two were drawn to each other. As time went on, the two grew closer and further in love. Sadly, their meeting didn't go noticed. By a certain night, Ral had noticed that the princess had been sneaking out of the castle late at night for the past few months. So one night, he secretly followed the princess out onto the beach, hidden in the shadows, as he watched over her. Shoto pulled himself onto the shore as Yin gave him a quick peck on the cheek. As his cheeks flushed a little red, Ral gasped as he watched the two interact. He slowly grabbed the tilt of his sword, slightly drawing it. With amazing speed, he charged at the enemy. Shoto barely had enough time to react as he moved back. As the tip of the blade scratched the right side of his face, just missing the eye under his eyelid. Shoto! Yin gasped in horror at the sudden attack. Get away from that monster, princess! Ral shouted. Ral pulled the princess behind him as he raised his sword. Shoto quickly slides back into the ocean. As he got far out enough, as he turned to see Yin being pulled away by her guard, Yin turned to look back at the ocean as her eyes met. Tears ran down Yin's cheeks as she shouted in apology. Prince Shoto! Ida called out. Todoroki, your eye! Izuku gasped. Shoto sighed as he tried to come up with a reasonable excuse for this injury. The two guards obviously didn't believe him and escorted the prince back to the palace. Yin's father was happy that Rao saved his daughter from the dangerous enemy and gladly handed his daughter's hand in marriage. Rao was more than happy with this idea, though Yin was, on the other side, wasn't too happy. Rao was simply a friend to her in her eyes, and couldn't see him any more than that. Yin tried to explain to her father that the merman Shoto had no interest to hurt her, but the king freed that the merman may have used their magic to confuse his daughter. So in panic, he locked his daughter away in her room. Alone, in her room, on a tower, Yin wept and kept her eyes on the ocean. Shoto was able to avoid punishment from his father and continued to sneak up to the surface. Even though they were far apart, Shoto would sing to the sky as the wind carried his song to Yin. Even if they were slipped far apart, they were once again to reunite, even if she had to leave loved ones behind. On a lone shore, Yin looked out at the sea, hoping to see Shoto again. Shoto poked his head above the water and with a calm smile on his face as he swam closer to the shore. The two drew close as they embraced each other and kissed each other. Yin, I missed you so much, Shoto whispered as he held her close. I missed you too. Yin mumbled back. Come on with me. We can go somewhere far away, where no one can find us, Shoto suggested as he held out his hand. Yin hesitated slightly, but remembered what will happen if she stays in her castle. So with a smile, she grabbed Shoto's hand. As he slowly leads her to the water, Shoto pulled her close. As he leaned close and kissed Yin, as Yin felt herself submerge under the water, as she could feel something change. As her legs merged into a tail, with her new tail, she and Shoto swam far away.